Yeah. Come on, y'all. We about to get our praise on up in this piece right now. Y'all know how we do. You sure? Come on, let's go. Yeah. Get your hands up.
Have you ever heard the saying, act your age?
Alright, check it out, man. We're gonna do this thing like this.
Well, the term act your age is usually often used in a corrective manner. It is a call to maturity, to rise up unto a new level of maturity. Today at our honoring our sons ceremony, I want to say that each one of we young men act our age. Well, the term act your age is usually often used in a corrective manner. It is a call to maturity, to rise up unto a new level of maturity. Today at our honoring our sons ceremony, I want to say that each one of we young men act our age. I'm not just talking to the young men, I'm talking to myself too. We must act our age, but it's used in a very good way. Enjoy your youth. Relish some of the daring things that we do. Now, to be honest, saints, last week, I spray painted my hair orange. Now, I probably shouldn't have done that because it took me a week to get out. But I necessarily was acting young. I dare you to be the great young man that you really are. But all I ask is reflection on our honoring our sons ministry. 1 Timothy 4:12 says, "Don't let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers in speech, in conduct, in love, in faith, and in purity." Now, it took me a while, but I realized that there was more to the verse than the young part. I see that most adults don't automatically respect the young of age. In fact, I found that at times, my youngest worked against me instead of for me. There are times when you are either too old to do something or too young to do something. In fact, that's exactly why Paul continued his letter to this young pastor, Timothy. Do not let anyone look down on you because you are young, but set an example for the believers. Say that. Set an example for the believers. So today, young man, and myself, I want to encourage everyone to set examples as well as embrace our youth. Say that. Set an example. It can be hard not being accepted and treated as equal as adults are. And you see, one thing about being a leader and being a young leader is that people must recognize the authority that you have. Because if you live your life just as Jesus did, people will begin to take note. There's a verse in Proverbs that says, even a child is known by his or her actions. Paul would tell Timothy that there are areas in his life that could set the example where he could model and shape his life the way that Jesus did. This is how you can live your life. First example, speech. Don't let your mouth get you in trouble. I have 3 teachers here with me today who can testify that there's been many times I let my mouth get me into trouble. Don't mouth off people. Be quiet when need be. Isn't that right, Mr. Bolton? Be quiet when need be. Sometimes the best thing said is nothing at all. Use your mouth to build up people instead of tearing them down. Now let's look at B, actions and life. Let your life or actions actions do the talking for you. There's a time to be goofy and a time to be serious. There are times when the father or the parent who's disciplining the child says, shut up and let me talk. And he says there's a time to be goofy and a time to be serious. So this is the time. Sometimes they'll play with us, but they have to let us know when it's time to be serious. We need to set an example in the way that we love. The word used here for love shows respect to parents and all kinds of teachers and friends just alike. Love looks out for the best and interest of all of us, sometimes at the expense of what we want. Love shows Christ's example. And saints, especially the young men, love might even get you kissed on Valentine's Day. All the boys, high five your neighbor and say, ain't that right? Set the example by how you live out your faith. We are growing up in a church, Glenville New Life Community Church, where I feel that our leadership have a real relationship with Jesus and are doing their best to help us to get that relationship with Jesus. My great-grandparents, a good friend of theirs told a story of how he was in the middle of them both. My grandfather wanted to meet my great-grandmother. My great-grandmother wanted to meet my great-grandfather. So they both went to that main source to try to get in touch with each other. When you want to have a good relationship with somebody, you need to show them love, speak to them correctly, and show actions that apply towards that, so that we can be more spiritually mature and empowered in our lives and the leadership in the community, in the church and the community. There are so many opportunities here for we young men to discover and learn effectively and to use our gifts to do what God wants us to do. Paul is telling Timothy to live out his faith even when it is unpopular to do so. Say that. Live out your faith even when it is unpopular to do so. In many ways, the young people at our church are doing just that. Several of our young people right here have made mission trips to go and try to reach others people for Christ. Nelson Campbell, he went all the way to Australia on a mission trip to get more people closer to Christ. Emily Glenn and Jessica Glenn. Jessica went all the way to the Dominican Republic to reach others closer to Christ. Emily went to Pennsylvania to reach other people to Christ. I have nothing but respect for these people because they are not vacations, but these are mission trips and opportunities to experience God in a whole new way. To live out your faith in a whole new way is by showing an example about everything that you do. At the basketball court, the football field, and at the chess games or meets, whatever sport that you play and activities, do them and play them like young men and women whose lives has been changed. Live out your faith, I'll say that again, live out your faith in a very real manner. People will see, adults and teens alike, that you serve a very real Jesus, that you are not a toy Christian that is just for show and just fake. Young men, the opportunities are here. We are trying to make us all, they are trying to make us all young men, but we have to set an example. Many names have been given to me at school. Reverend Do-Wrong, Reverend Okie Doke, and many times Mr. Bowden likes it, Reverend Don't Do Nothing. And by my security guard, Reverend Lowdown. We need to set an example in our purity. Commit to your True Love Waits accountability and purity group. Rise up and journey with other people who are saying no to sex and drugs and alcohol and all types of negativity. For just because Satan makes it look good doesn't mean it is good. Everything that Satan puts out there is going to come back to bite you in the butt. Purity in your sincerity. Live an open and real life, not a fake hiding behind masks. Do not pretend to be something if you're not. Be genuine with others and yourself. Blameless. Live a life above reproach. Two tests may come in. If you are living a life, there is a possibility that your teacher might not accuse you because your life shows a different way. Now, you see, being a young man means that you have to, it's not just being a young man, it's not being a regular Christian. God gives us specific responsibilities as same as women. So lastly, I just want to say, don't let anyone try to rob you of your youth. Go out and dye your hair all colors of the rainbow. And here's a good one. Go shave your girlfriend's name into your eyebrows to prove she's always on your mind. The next time your parents leave you at the barbershop alone, tell the barber you want a mohawk. Give people a reason not to see your age, but to see your faith and your maturity. For then you are setting an example for Jesus by pouring your life unto others. You will be young living by example.